What's the difference between Hatha Yoga and Raja Yoga? You might not even have heard anything. You might have, probably most people have heard of yoga. What do you think about yoga? Well, it's like a bunch of people doing exercises together. It's just, it goes on at the sports club. They have a class and it's like just stretching and downward dog kind of stretch. Yes, that is known as Hatha Yoga, which is just doing the physical poses. And some people do hot yoga because apparently it makes it a little bit easier for old bones to work when they're doing these stretches. So that's Hatha Yoga. Oh, that's Raja Yoga. Oh, there's Kundalini Yoga. Um, I've heard different other ones. But I'm going to talk about Raja Yoga because I was asked to. Raja Yoga. Oh, there's Kriya Yoga, not Korea from like North and South Korea. Kriya Yoga, which is a teaching of the lineage of Yogananda. So I've got two books from the lineage of Yogananda. Yogananda wasn't the first yogi of his lineage, but he's the best well known, and this is the most famous book. This one here, Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. But he came from a lineage. In other words, there were plenty of yogis that learned how to be a yogi before he came around. Okay, and then I've got this other book by a student of Yogananda, Superconsciousness by J. Donald Walters. He was a student of the other guy I showed you first. Okay, so they were all about what was known as Kriya Yoga, which was kind of a meditate. It wasn't nothing to do with doing stretches. Did they do stretches? I don't think it was too much into stretches. I really don't think they were doing the stretches much. Maybe they were. It just wasn't talked about in these books. What do? They do a special kind of meditation, Kriya Yoga meditation. And what is it? I don't know. I have not been indoctrinated into Kriya Yoga. Is it good? I think it's very good. Just because I like the quality of both of these books. They're very interesting, and I come back to them time and again. So I'm going to say it's good, Kriya Yoga, but there's no one teaching it, to my knowledge, in my town. And when I lived in a great big city where it might have been taught, it was never mentioned. It wasn't like, I don't think there was like a Kriya Yoga. I don't think I'm saying it right. If I'm saying it wrong, I'm sorry. But I don't think there was a center that was teaching it. What other things were there? Oh, there was meditation centers in the big city. There were Buddhist temples where they probably taught meditation. Anyway, we'll move along, and that's Kriya Yoga. And the next one I want to talk about is the Raja Yoga. And all I could gather, because I haven't taken anything in Raja Yoga, apparently, that I know of, so all I could gather from looking it up in Wikipedia was it had to do with this book. This one here. Now, I'm sorry, again, I got reflections because it's got plastic shiny on it. But it's the Yogic Aphorisms of Patanjali. And what it says on the back is, the soul does not love, it is love itself. It does not exist, it is existence itself. It does not know, it is knowledge itself. That's from Patanjali. The Yoga Aphorisms of Patanjali is a major work on the practice of yoga and meditation. Through these ancient aphorisms, you will learn how to control your mind and achieve inner peace and freedom. Although these methods were taught over 2,000 years ago, they are as alive and effective today as they have ever been. This translation draws on the inspired commentary from both Swami Prabhavananda and Christopher Isherwood. Christopher Isherwood, if you follow my channel, you will know that I do channel Christopher Isherwood. Christopher Isherwood was An Englishman who was a playwright, and he was the one credited with the Broadway play Cabaret, if you're a Liza Minnelli fan. And he went to Berlin before the Nazis came to power. It was called, again, my pronunciation is probably wrong because I don't speak German, but it was either Weimar or Weimar Republic. So, like early 1930s, I'm not sure if it was 1920s, roaring 20s, but, roughly 100 years ago. And at that time, Berlin was all about cabaret. It was, let's go out and have fun. Let's go out and have fun. Let's go out and have fun. And that's what they did. So how did Christopher Isherwood ever come to meet Swami Prabhavananda? I don't know. It's a good question. I'm going to write it down on my little sheet of things I got to look into because I don't know how it came about. How do I channel Christopher Isherwood? I put on one of these hats, and sometimes he comes through. I don't know when he's going to come through, but he's got this British accent, and, it sounds like I'm doing a British accent. This is not my channeling of Christopher Isherwood right now. Just so you know, I am doing the character known as the narrator, Harry Weaver, and it's, what I do a lot of my videos with. But if Christopher comes back, maybe he'll tell me. I don't know. Anyway, I have one certain hat that I usually put on when Christopher, if he's going to show up, that's usually when he comes. But sometimes some of these other hats he's showed up in, but he hasn't showed up in weeks, so I don't know. Anyways, what else can I tell you about Raja Yoga? It calibrates way high, like in the 900s on the scale of human consciousness. That's like so high, that's like, that'll blow your mind high. That is unbelievably high information. And Hatha Yoga, just doing the stretches and poses, 265. I mean, it's not negativity, but it's, yes, it's in the realm of, well, if you're going to pick one of the two, what are you wanting it for? If you want to become more spiritually enlightened, you want the Raja Yoga, you want this one. And he does say in the Wikipedia article that you still do the asanas, in other words, yoga poses. So you can keep your Hatha Yoga. So if you're into Hatha Yoga, what I would say is pick up a copy of this book, The Yogic Sutras of Patanjali, and put it by your bedside table. And when you wake up at 3 a.m, you can't sleep, put on your spectacle glasses, if you need them, and pick up the book and read some pages and keep reading so that you get this information into your noggin. And then what? Well, I always say meditate. And, and what if you just want to stick with Hatha poses? Then it's probably pretty good for your body. Because I do some of these, I don't do the full routine of what they do in Hatha Yoga. Should I? There's no shoulds. The body does what it does, and it doesn't want to go to the hot yoga center. But if you're doing these kind of yoga things, you just have to add to what you've already got, and you're going to raise your vibration through the roof. Who's better? One of my friends keeps bringing up, the YouTube commentators that are teaching, new age stuff, and what's better, watching one of those guided meditations on YouTube or doing your Hatha Yoga and reading this book? The answer is, I'll muscle test it. I'm going to muscle test it for you. Okay, here we go. Read the book. It's very strong. Watch YouTube videos of various people doing guided meditations. No. Okay, so if you really want to get more bang for your buck, I don't know, what was this book? How much was this book? $11. $11 for this book. I know, YouTube videos are free to listen to guided meditations, but if you really want to get the the most value for your time, read the book. I don't know if anyone's got an audiobook version of it on YouTube or anything. Could be. You could take a look. In other words, I try and do a lot of your homework for you. Why? Because I know people are lazy. And if the more homework I do for you, then the more you get from my video. But, sometimes I come across questions like that. Was this available on the internet as an audiobook? And I don't know. Now I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to take a look. And the answer is, when I looked on YouTube, there were multiple videos up for Yogic Sutras of Patanjali. My internet has gone bad, so I can't really get into it. But it looks like there's audiobooks and maybe some people that are explaining it. So it looks like if you want to do your homework, maybe you don't have to go and buy a copy of Yogic Sutras, Yoga Aphorisms. There's two. That's interesting because this book is the Yoga Aphorisms of Patanjali, but I've also seen it listed as Yogic Sutras of Patanjali. So there's two things for you to look it up. You might as well listen to it if you don't like to read while you're doing your poses. So you can hit 2 balls for the price of 1. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe because I put up new videos pretty much every day.